I was doing a lot more DAW related stuff as like earlier electronics, just working in Ableton the first couple years of New York. But I was still very much like classical composer, writing string quartets, like chamber pieces. I had like an orchestra reading that kind of went nowhere.
As they usually do.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of that experience both reinvigorated like my passion for making electronic music while also kind of like disillusioning me to like just how things work in classical spheres. Like I wrote a piece for I Care If You Listen recently that talked about like thoughts on the commission model, and a lot of that comes from like my experience in New York and being like, why aren't these two musical disciplines, performing and composing, more integrated into each other? And the fact that like it seems like composers and performers are kind of like a snake eating its own tail in a lot of
Mm.
ways of like why can't we both just do both things, and instead we're kind of like in separate camps but both dependent on each other, but then also both cannibalizing the same resources. So that pushed me into like, okay, I need to start developing a performance practice for myself because I can't always be expected to like one afford to pay performers all the time if I'm ever going to have pieces performed. And then I also can't expect to have performers commission me if I'm going to like have work. So I just need to be pretty autonomous and have my own kind of self-contained system where I can explore and make and like just do the thing without worrying about who's funding it, who's performing it, what's happening. It's like no, I just need to make stuff, and that really came to the forefront after I graduated, and suddenly like, oh, I don't have access to like their music library for scores. I don't have access to all the performers that I would have had just from being in a university. So yeah, that really pushed me to like, okay, just like practice and be on stage. Yeah.
I totally feel it, and I was actually talking with another composer the other day about what you're kind of describing. They were describing the situation where they had two kind of sets of performers wanting to commission her, but like apply to one of those big commissioning funds together, like where you have to go in as both a performer and composer together apply. And she was like, I'm really having a dilemma on this. I don't quite know what to do. And the discussion ended up being like, why do you have to wait for these institutions to provide you the funding to make this music that you both want to make?
Mhm.
Like, but also, are they willing to pay their own money to commission you? Like, it sounds like they're not if they're waiting around for this, and it just kind of puts everyone in like this icky situation, right? And I'm glad you brought up your article because I read that, and I love what you suggest about like looking towards the visual art world where there's like patrons commissioning people instead of like the community commissioning one another.
It's not like these ensembles don't want to like pay composers from their own money out of pocket. It's probably because they don't have that money lying around. It's
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
no one has these resources, and it's like, oh yeah, it would be great. Like if I had the money, I would be throwing it at my friends to be like, yeah, let's do cool together. Let's go. But we don't have that. And we're like beholden to these institutions or whatever. So then I think that's another part of the issue is, at least within the community, it feels very, like, egocentric in a way of, like, yeah, someone should pay me to, like, do the grand thing that I wanna do and, like, just give me the money and, like, I wanna make the thing that I wanna make. It's like, yeah, we do need that to an extent of, like, this is how we get actually cool new ideas and, like, work that wouldn't exist otherwise, but there also comes to a point of, like, okay, who is this work actually serving? Who is this for? What does this do for the community around us besides, like, the ego of the artists who are making it? And I think that's, like, a big thing that's missing, especially in new music, where it's just like, "Okay, who why did this need to exist?"
Mm. Thank you so much for tuning in to Micromaker by Loose Leaf Transmissions. We hope you enjoyed this brief glimpse into the inner workings of the creative life. If this resonated with you, be sure to check out the full conversation on Music Maker with Tyler Kline, a podcast exploring craft and process, philosophy and inspiration, and the honest, often messy parts of being an artist, creative uncertainty, purpose and identity, and resilience. You can find Music Maker wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting musicmakerpodcast.com.